You have Wyatt in center and Evan in left. There's not many times where they've both been on the field where that's been the configuration. What was just your thought there?
Well, they both need to play today. With the off day yesterday with Carter, he was going to play today anyway. This was going to be Wyatt's first day. I said it before spring training started that they're both going to get center field and left field reps. Probably the next time around, you'll see the opposite. So this just happened to land on that day. You got to see them both play center and left, and trying to figure out again the ways that we can be most successful and stay on the field the longest for both of them, and just trying to see what it looks like.
Housekeeping stuff. Is Foscue all good from yesterday? Down a few days, or?
Yeah, he'll be down a few days. I don't know really the timeline just yet. Came in pretty sore this morning, so you won't see him today or tomorrow at least. Yeah.
The center field stuff, what are you looking for there in terms of how you evaluate what's best for that position?
Yeah, center field is a leadership position. I think anything up the middle is a leadership position. And we want to see that out of whoever gets that spot, leaving camp. I'm trying to get Carter to play, stay healthy on the field every day. I think that's the goal for him for sure. It's the goal for us as an organization because we want to see, what he can do over a course of a full healthy season. Is it more taxing on your body in center than left? Same with Wyatt. I have no idea. We're trying to figure all that out as a front office and staff. Does it change with who we're facing, or the field, or the turf, or all of that stuff? So I think we're just trying to try to navigate that while we're here for the next 6 weeks or whatever it is. But again, I wouldn't put too much stock in it today. It's just they're just playing right now for one game, probably for 5 innings, and then we'll see what it looks like in a couple days when they're both on the field again in opposite positions.
Building on that, Evan, what does he bring to a team when he's in the game? What kind of juice have you seen from a manager perspective or a coach perspective?
I think there's a lot of stock into the hit tool, but he is a really good outfielder, really good base runner. He can change the game in a number of different ways. I do believe in run prevention, and with a big outfield like we have, he can fly around the field, and he turns doubles into outs, and so that's super, super valuable, obviously. But again, I also think he's a really good hitter. He's so young. He didn't really have a chance to develop a ton in the minor leagues because you all went to the World Series and won the dang thing. So. And it was awesome, but he didn't really have a real chance to develop, and because of injury history, he doesn't have a ton of at-bats. So I don't think we know, or we have seen, I should say, the best version of Evan yet, because he doesn't have, these thousands of at-bats that a lot of minor leaguers do have before they get to the major league level. So I think Evan is, who knows what he's going to be, but I know he's going to be a really good player. I think the sky's the limit for him. And we just don't know because we haven't seen, the bulk of it at bats like a lot of other prospects get in the minor leagues.
One of the big changes this year, the ABS deal. I was talking to some of the pitchers, just casual off camera, and they seem to lean towards saying we're gonna rely on the catchers on this more. Is there a philosophy in the building? Is that evolving because it's new? How does that go?
I think we're trying to work through that as we go through the spring season. We just had a rules meeting as a staff and front office staff for an hour and a half, going through the ABS and what they've seen last year and what they've seen so far in spring training. We're trying to communicate that as much as we can with the player. We want them to use it as much as they want to use it to see how good they are. I do feel that potentially, just my thought is that pitchers get emotional and want pitches a lot, and just like the hitters want, because one pitch can change a count and can change a whole at bat. Where I think a catcher has an idea, obviously because they're so close and they know where the ball is going, whether or not it's a strike or not. Plus the way pitchers follow through now, they're off to the side or whatever it is, so they don't really have a direct line and seeing where the pitch crosses the plate half the time. So we haven't said like catchers only yet. In fact, we've had 2 challenges the last couple of days that the pitchers have challenged and they've gotten it right. So, and the catchers have not. So, I think 3 or 4% of pitches actually get challenged. So it's not a ton of pitches throughout a game, but it can change. If you burn them, what that looks like later in the game. During leverage spots. So I think it's just not being selfish, being a good teammate. Of not being just because it's your at bat and a nobody on, nobody out, that type of thing, and you want that borderline pitch 1-1 count. I'm not sure that's the time to use it. So we're just trying to figure it out as a pitcher, as a catcher, and as a hitter. And I don't think any team knows exactly what they're doing yet, but hopefully by opening day we have an idea.
Alexis Diaz makes his Cactus League debut today. What have you seen from him these first few weeks, and what will you be looking to see from him as he gets going?
You're going to hear me say this a lot, and I apologize,
Strikes.
but
You knew that was coming.
Yeah, strikes. Collier yesterday was ball 1, but then he got back into the count and he was, 1-2 before you knew it. So if it is ball 1, then I like to get him back into the count as quick as possible. They've been working really hard to, get the jump back on his with the velo, like back up to the 92, 94 range, more consistently at the 93, 94, and then hopefully by the end of camp you see it even, tick up even more. The slider for a strike, and then strike the ball. What's that look like? Because he's super effective with the ride, with that low arm slot, and then the slider from off that fastball. So, but you can't get to it unless you're throwing strikes. So I think first time out with a lot of these guys, it's not easy. People in the stands, facing an opponent for the first time. So I don't put a ton of stock in the first one. But I do feel like, strikes should be like the first thing on his list.
So you talk about throwing strikes, right? And that's been important for all these guys now and in the season. It is a dumb question, but they have the stuff, right? What can make throwing strikes hard? Is it a mental thing? Is it just how you approach the at bat? What can make it harder for some guys to consistently throw strikes than others? I'm sure it's different for everyone, but
yeah, mechanics get out of sync or whatever it is. It could be mental. I think the thought sometimes of the fear of what happens if I throw it over the middle of the plate creeps in. But if you look at in general, where pitches, there's not a home run is hit every single time in the heart of the plate. So I think more damage is done behind the count than just heart of the plate early on in an at bat. And I think it could be more mental than anything. Guys want to nibble, but I think especially the relief pitchers. If you're not on the attack, we're in trouble. And you always get in trouble with leadoff walks or behind counts in 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and that's what we're trying to figure out as far as bullpen construction and where they're going to pitch. Who can we rely on most, not only with stuff, but can throw strikes?
Talking with Joc Pederson this morning, he seems very locked in on bouncing back. And you've seen a guy who has had success for a long time. Last year was very frustrating for him. How important is it for this lineup for him to be back to the guy who he was in the second half of last year and obviously the career before the first half of last year?
I'm not looking for him to do anything more than he's capable of doing. And if he's the Joc that we got in the second half, or the year before, or the year before that, we're going to be in a really good spot. It does lengthen our lineup. He's going to be in the heart of the order, especially against a right-handed pitcher. So we need his production. He knows that, and I have a really good feeling that Joc's going to have a bounce back year this year.
How much do you foresee him playing first base?
Joc is sneaky athletic. I'm serious. We all know his amateur days. He was the wide receiver and center fielder, and he's DH'd a lot the last few years, but he's an athlete. And so if you see him work, his glove work around the bag is still really good. he's just a baseball player as well. So he's got good instincts. He's got good feel for the game. I don't have a problem with him at all at first base. You have to always, like, worst case scenario sometimes of like what could possibly happen, and so we're just making sure we have options just in case type stuff. How often, I don't know. I mean, guys need to get off their feet. I do like to utilize the DH spot not only just for one guy. I think guys getting off their feet is kind of like a half off day, a little bit of just taking 4 at bats and not, you know, having to play 9 innings on the field. So how can we utilize that DH spot more? If he can play first, that allows, like today, Berger gets a DH spot, and it maybe gets him a little refresher going into the next day.
Is he? I mean, if Berger needs a break during the season, like, is Joc like the backup first baseman, or do you see that being one of the bench guys like a Zeke or whoever is on your bench, basically?
I think Joc can play first base, so that would probably be the easy answer right now. I also don't know who's going to be on the team, so at the bench, I mean, that's the 4 or 5 guys that are going to be on the bench. I don't know what that looks like, so sorry. I wish I could give you, but Joc's going to get reps. He's going to play today, and then a couple days he's going to play again against, I don't know, I forget who the next, but in like 3 days he's going to play again first base. Yeah.
So guys that can play first base is Joc, Zeke, Foscue. I know Cody's hurt. Can he play first?
I'm sure he could, but probably not an option. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Smith has played first, obviously. So there are guys that can play first, but we're trying to best worst case scenario, still giving guys a breather in the DH spot is kind of what I'm looking at right now.